Verbal riot.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to the show. It is Thursday, my favorite day. You guys all know that because I get to spend it with y'all talking about the nonsense of the week. Got to be honest with you, Goat. I got to be honest with you. It's been a really crazy week for me, so I might be a little off today, but your boy's a professional. He knows how to handle himself. He knows how to ride out a bad week and still give a decent show, I think. But anyway, I'm glad you guys are watching. For the 5 of you who are always in the chat, welcome. I wish I could remember names, but you guys know I smoke a lot of weed, so I forget my own brothers and sisters' names a lot of times. But I am extremely glad you're here because you know what? Look, even if I wanted to take this week off, I couldn't do it because we got so much that came out this week. So many things we've been looking forward to seeing, right? Like we finally got a Superman trailer. And the trailer we've all been waiting for, Ironheart, came out the same day. So I know you guys are more excited about Ironheart than any movie this summer. So we got that to look forward to. And best believe, bet your ass, we're going to talk about Ironheart because, ooh boy, that was well, you guys will see. I'm going to play the trailer for that one. But I'm not alone, guys. I'm not alone today. Today I am joined by a special guest. Just like last week, I was joined by the two lovely ladies that were gracious enough to hop on the on VRL, Stephanie and Ashton. But today, my guest isn't as lovely as those two ladies, but he's still a looker. He's still a looker. He can still pull the ladies. And that special guest, my friends, is Arron Sparrow.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Arron, what is up, man? I love when you join the show. We always have a good time. How have you been?
I'm having the same week you are, man. Found out that the ankle that I thought was sprained turned out they misdiagnosed me, and I've got a foot that's broken in 2 places. So I've been walking on that, which I shouldn't have been doing. Car problems, just a million things going on with production. We're finishing up Kneel Before Doomface.
That's right.
Going to get out to the backers. So I've had a million things going this week, but I'm glad to come on and just like spend a little bit of my relaxing time talking about, some of the trailers and stuff that have dropped.
Oh yeah, and before we do that though, I mean, I'm glad you brought this up, man. Let's hear about Doomface, man. I mean, shit, pitch your stuff, shield.
Oh, well, I mean, Doomface is kind of a there's elements of it. There's elements that I've wanted to do for a long time, and then as I was kind of thinking of like what I could do to set the book apart, we decided to focus it on the villain. And as I was designing villains for the book, I was like, well, who could we use? And I always liked the idea of a character named Doomface because then you could kind of ridiculously say, the face of your doom, to kind of like reiterate his name. And so I just came up with the whole idea for him and what he would be like. And then I was like, you know what? I really love the 80s kind of era of villains, from cartoons and pop culture, So like I wanted a Dr. Doom / Skeletor type villain. And then the idea kind of morphed into him being banished in the 1980s, on the eve of his triumph. He's banished to the timeless void. And now in the year 2024, there's a there's the Ghost Bros show, which is like a Ghost Adventures type where they go in and, these places that are supposedly haunted and they pretend that someone just touched my leg, bro. Like that kind of stuff. They accidentally end up bringing Doomface back into the present. So he decides that he's going to set off and reestablish himself as the top villain in the world. He's going to take over the world. But obviously the world in 2024 is a lot different than it was in the 1980s. So, he's got to deal with the culture shock. And then our B story is two small town superheroes that want to go to the big city, the city of San Francisco, which is just 49% criminals. And and everybody's trying to keep it from tipping over the edge. And they want to go and they want to help. They want to help the good people of the city. And the conceit there is, what if breaking into the superhero business was like breaking into the modern day comic book industry with all of the same a-hole personalities and disdain for, the people that they're actually supposed to be serving, which in this case, comics would be the customers. In this case, it would be the people that need saving. So it just kind of all like morphed from that and turned into a really fun if you like the Venture Brothers, if you like the Tick, if you like Sam and Max, if you like
love all those.
Yeah, any of my Darkwing Duck work. It is a superhero spoof, but it also has real stakes and real storylines. And I'm going to try to walk that line of serious storytelling, but coupled with some absurdist humor and some heavy satire of our current landscape.
I love this, man. Like, I love it because I like the fact that people in our space, for the most part, we get accused a lot of just criticizing other people's work, living off of other people's work, and especially if you're a YouTuber like myself, my job is literally to critique. But I love when people in our space are creative and actually doing things on their own. And a lot of things are happening now. There's a lot more independent comics happening now than I think probably ever. We obviously Ripper's a big one, but you got guys like Yellow Flash doing his thing now, and you've been doing Doomface for a while. So I mean, it's like it's cool to see people in our space being creative.
Yeah, it kind of came. This is like the type of project that like I never could have done at any mainstream publisher. I would have had to surrender so much of the rights. I would have had to take notes from them. Oh, you can't do this joke, you can't do that. I've worked in licensed comics for a long time. I've had jokes nerfed. Sometimes it makes you come up with something better because you've now been challenged and you're like, oh, maybe that one was a little easy, and now I can kind of like craft something better. But more often than not, good work escapes from these organizations and these publishers more than it's actually created. So with this, I just get to cut loose. I get to do whatever it is that I want. I get to be as insensitive and as politically incorrect as I want. I get to make fun of everybody South Park style. No one is going to be safe. We're going to mock everything. And because that's just kind of like my sense of humor. And it all starts with, characters like the Social Justice League and, these other characters that Doomface and that the heroes will come up against, and sometimes the heroes will be fighting the heroes and Doomface will obviously be fighting some villains because they don't want him to ascend back to, the top of the heap. So we're having a lot of fun with it. And, it's like he spent over 40 years in the void and he's, his mind didn't return in mint condition. So, he is a little bit off. So we're having a lot of fun with everything that we're doing. And, I've got a great artist, Renzo Rodriguez, great colorist, Oscar Carreno. My friend.
Hey, that's important, man. That is extremely important.
I knew that I wanted this to be, it's like one of the problems that I had with some of the character designs initially was that artists kept, artists that I would commission for designs, they kept trying to make the costumes funny. And there are characters that, will have costumes that are kind of ridiculous and they'll be kind of ridiculous. But for the most part, I was like, no, I want this to look like if you saw this figure standing on a shelf, I want it to be toyetic. I want you to be like, who is that? I want to buy that. So we really worked hard on making a lot of the character designs really cool. So it's been a blast. I can't believe I'm finally doing my own creator-owned thing. And I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, man. And honestly, I'm happy for you. I really wish a lot of success. I think that right now it's funny because I look at like the big boys, right? I look at Marvel and DC and man, they are failing. They are just like, I every now and then I'll check in, right? Because I'm a big comics guy. I've been reading comics. I said this before, like since '83, right? So for me, I'll always have a love for comics. I'll always, every now and then go through my long boxes and find a bunch of comics I never read that I bought like years ago, right? And dive into it. And one of my favorite comics is actually The Invisibles, Grant Morrison. So like every now and then I'll do a reread of that series. But I look at what's going on with Marvel right now, man, and DC, and one of the headlines I saw was, and this was like their big story arc or storyline. It was Dr. Doom's son kisses Killmonger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so this is your whole story, right? The whole thing is about Dr. Doom's son being gay.
Yeah, it's so maddening too, because it's in a storyline called One World Under Doom, where Dr. Doom has taken over the entire world and he's running the thing. And like basically like the majority of the world is happy about it because Doom is actually getting things done. And so, of course, it's the
you're saying he's like the Kingpin, right? He's filling potholes and doing all that stuff.
He's doing all the stuff that the bureaucracy, never did.
He's getting things done.
So you would think that a story where Dr. Doom has taken over the world, that would have a lot of weight and there'd be a lot of really cool dramatic moments. And it is the most insipid, boring, like they're using vampires as an illegal alien allegory.
come on.
Yeah, so we should feel bad for the blood-sucking vampires because they're trying to be vegan. Like this is the kind of stuff that's going in, and it's like it just feels like a parody. Like I wouldn't even do that in Kneel Before Doomface, which is a satire.
But wait, it's just isn't that kind of racist though? Because like they're saying that, right?
They don't get it.
They're comparing these people to vampires, right? That are sucking the lifeblood.
Exactly.
From the people who live there normally, right?
I think that might be their idea. Like this is what people say about them, and so that's why it works. But it's like, no,
God, they're so bad at this.
That's actually terrible. You guys are awful at this. I'll tell you a story. This will tie into us talking about Ironheart later. Is when I worked at Boom Studios, Mark Waid was there, famous comic book writer, even more famous Tantrum Baby online.
Yeah.
But he was there and he was doing a book called Irredeemable, and he introduced a character in it that I thought was a really interesting character. The character happened to be black, but I thought, man, this character is kind of exciting and interesting. And when he came into the office, I told him, I can't remember the character's name now, but I said, I really like this new character. I'm really intrigued by him. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, originally he was going to be, he was going to be really street, but then I realized I don't really know how to write street. So I went against type and I just made him the smartest guy in the room. And he didn't even realize what he said. And he went to his office and I was just standing there like kind of stunned. I was like, Mark Waid thinks making a black character smart is going against type.
Wow.
And that's how I feel with like Riri Williams, with Shuri, with Luna Lovegood or Lunella from Devil Dinosaur. They put these characters, they're like, hey, look at this black genius. Aren't we progressive? Aren't we great? But like deep down inside, it's because they don't in their heart believe that that's realistic. They think that they're really doing something that's going to, I'm going to kneel down and I'm going to, it's the meme of Daenerys on the backs of all the adoring brown people. It's like, look at me, look at what I've done for you. I've created this character that you can look up to. So you can finally have something to aspire to lift yourself up to my level. That's kind of the attitude that permeates this. And that's a lot of what we're going to roast and make fun of in Kneel Before Doomface is kind of those attitudes and just these outdated, progressive ideas that kind of expose the inherent racism of the soft bigotry of low expectations as a president I don't particularly like once said, but it was a good
no, but it's true though. And the funny thing about it is they don't even realize they're doing it.
No,
they don't even realize it, right? Like it'd be different if they knew, right? But they don't even realize it. That's how stupid they are.
Yeah, and that's why like when you get a writer like Mark Waid and he creates a character like Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon and he's in the new terrible Captain America movie. But it's like when he creates that character in the comics, all he can have that character talk about is illegal immigration. Because in his little bubble, that's all he knows about Hispanic people. That's the only frame of reference he has. So that's the words that he puts into their mouth. And it's like, you don't take the time to actually meet people and, get their perspective so that you can write.
Right.
And you lived in California for years. How did you not know any Hispanic people?
That's insane. Okay, that's crazy. That's like saying you live here, but you've never eaten a burrito, right? Or a taco. Like I'm talking like an authentic taco, not that shit from the Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you gotta have, like a good street taco.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like after the clubs, it's 2 a.m., and you see the chick on the corner grilling the meat right there in front of you. Yeah.
God, yeah, there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those by where I live. Like, you drive down late at night and, it's like, it's 10 o'clock at night and you're kind of like on a back road and there's like a whole thing going on. And you're like, do I need some carne asada right now?
But you know what though? That is very much LA. Like those are the little things about LA that I love is that at any time of the night, you can find yourself a taco.
Yep. And being that, tacos are one of my favorite things. And probably, like, someone asked me recently, they said, like, if you could just eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? And I said,
oh, definitely tacos. Yes.
Tacos.
For sure. Like not even a question. But I was going to say, it's kind of surprising to me because I actually did I liked Mark Waid's run of Cap back in the day, man.
The one with Ron Garney, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought...
it was great. He's written some of my favorite stories. He's written my favorite Doctor Doom story.
And so when you're saying that he missed the mark so much, I'm like, that's crazy, man. Like he lost it, I guess.
When he, I've always said this even about working with him. I said, if he, because there's that saying of, which dog is stronger? You're the two wolves of your nature. Which one is stronger? Well, it's the one that you feed. And if Mark, I've always said about Mark, if he could feed the better side of his personality, he could do great things, but he gives in so much to the petty, bitter, I was bullied in school, chip on my shoulder,
Right.
little abused inner child. He gives into that so much that he doesn't do himself any favors. And plus I think I think he's got anger issues that maybe he should be seeing somebody for. And there's a lot of things I highly recommend. I mean, look, if you need it, I highly recommend therapy. I don't think that there should be a stigma about that.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not, man.
Go and talk out your problems with somebody.
And that's the thing. These days there isn't a stigma to it. So like I just don't know why he doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell.
Yeah, now it's almost like a badge of honor. Like I was talking to my therapist. Hear people all the time talking about.
Yeah, I mean, hell, even black folks are doing therapy now, and we never did that shit before. So
mm-hmm. you just sucked it up, right? Yeah.
But I mean, you know what? Now that since we're on the topic of comics, man, I mean, we cannot not talk about Superman because that happened. Finally, we got a trailer for the new Superman film, which I'm not going to show you guys, unfortunately, because Warner Brothers is very trigger happy with the copyright striking on YouTube right now. So not going to show you the trailer, but we are going to get into some conversation about it because it's weird. Like this trailer, as decent as it is, it's got a lot of people divided, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if it's people that are just determined to hate or what people are bringing to it that because everybody comes with their expectations of what they expect, a Superman movie to be, or any of these properties that if they have any familiarity with them, they have their idea. I kind of went in, it's like I've heard all the negative things about it. I've heard all the negative press. I wasn't terribly impressed by the first trailer. There was some stuff there that I thought was good. The best image for me is like him grabbing the little girl as everything explodes around him and like protecting her. That was the moment that really got me in the first trailer. It's in this one as well. But this one just, I don't know, it just had kind of a hopeful tone that I enjoyed. And I don't know what the final product will be, but it just as a trailer, I thought this did what it needed to do. It made me go from, well, maybe I'll see this in week 2 after I hear, some opinions, to maybe I'll be there Thursday night with Dante and Gore, or whatever night it is that it's debuting. Maybe I'll be there for the debut because it got me interested enough to want to see it and to want to see it before I hear everybody's opinions on it. So did its job.
No, it definitely did its job, and I feel like, look, man, we have to just accept that this is James Gunn's version of Superman, right? This is his universe. We still don't know all the details about this movie. This trailer I thought was decently done, very decently done. Mm-hmm. I wasn't as super moved by it as some people were, but I definitely, I saw the effort made. And honestly, just from the trailer, I could see some story there. I could definitely see some story. Mm-hmm. I was sold on the actor, what's playing him? I can't remember his name offhand for some reason.
Corn Sweat.
Yeah, David Corn Sweat. I was sold on him, which you know what? Then job is done, because if you're not sold on him, then the movie falls apart. So I was sold on him in the trailer, and the actress playing Lois, man. I think so far they're doing a good job of playing of embodying these characters. I think what's hurting the trailer, if I'm being honest, I think it's the the addition of so many other characters, right?
It is a little concerning. Although I did kind of to use a wrestling term, I marked out a bit when I saw Hawk Girl and Green Lantern and the Guy Gardner Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific all together. Like I was like, that's kind of cool. And I noticed they had the lens flare over, so it was kind of blocking Guy Gardner's face just in that shot, because they were like, oh, they don't want people to see the haircut. They're kind of like hiding the haircut. But but then later he's like, he's creating constructs and things like that. So, I mean, I think it could work. It does seem like it's really stuffed, but I mean, I thought Avengers was going to be really, I thought Infinity War was going to be overstuffed, and I thought that they gave everybody kind of their due. So I think that it can be done. And I think that James Gunn has proven himself enough as a filmmaker to pull it off.
Well, yeah. And when I think about like, what he did with Suicide Squad and obviously Guardians, I mean, James Gunn knows how to handle an ensemble probably better than most directors, if I'm being honest with you. Mm-hmm. And this movie, in any other hands with this many characters, could be a disaster, if I'm being honest. But I do feel like with James Gunn, he's good at taking characters that are maybe a little bit more obscure and making him very likable, or at least very well known, right? I that's probably the only concerning thing for me is, I hope he didn't like bite off more than he could chew. I hope that those characters do play just a minor part and, don't overshadow Superman or Nicholas Hoult, who looks and sounds great playing Lex Luthor. So, I mean,
yeah, I'm sold on him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely sold on Nicholas Hoult. I think as long as, those two characters remain the focus, then the other side characters are just there.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're going to get like the origin of Guy Gardner, the origin of Hawk Girl. It's like they just happen to be there, and then eventually in some other project, maybe we'll learn more about them. But I do like, because I didn't need to see another origin. I mean, at this point, if you don't know what Superman's origin is, I don't know what to tell you. Do I need to see Batman's parents get shot in an alley again? I never need to see that again.
No, absolutely
not. I know what happens.
I never need to see Uncle Ben die again. I don't need to see any of this ever happen again. I don't need to see, Peter get bit by the spider. We know this stuff already.
So, the fact that they're kind of like jumping in the middle, he's already been Superman for a while. I like it. And I didn't mind the interview part at the beginning. I thought that established, I interpreted it differently than I think the people that are taking it negatively. Is I saw Lois doing her job and asking the tough questions, even though it's her boyfriend or husband or whatever it is that he is at this point. She's asking tough questions of him as a reporter, and she's not attacking him, but she's saying, this is what people are saying. And I understand him getting upset because I understand like the righteous anger of, I'm doing good. I stopped a war. I saved people's lives. What more could I be doing? Should I and the idea that he has to go and ask permission, when he's got the power and therefore the responsibility to do these things, that you can protect people, why aren't you doing it? I understand that anger in that moment. And I don't think it portrays him as simple-minded or angry at all. I think it's a righteous anger is different from an irrational anger.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And look, if we're being kind of honest here, and I'm not sliding anybody by saying this, a lot of the hate is coming from Snyder Bros, which, I mean, if we're being really honest about it, it is. I think a lot of people are still pissed off for some reason that, this isn't Zack Snyder's universe and Henry Cavill isn't Superman. And I understand. Look, I liked Henry Cavill. I didn't care for Zack Snyder's Snyderverse at all, but I like Henry Cavill.
And I thought he was a great Superman. It's just a shame that he never got to play the character of Superman, really.
Yes, that's the thing. It's like we never got Superman with him. He played a superpowered being that looked like Superman, but we never really got, the Superman character out of Henry Cavill. And I do think we are going to get that from David Cornsweet.
And I showed this too. Like I always I talk about on Thinking Critical all the time about how I'll watch these trailers and then I will show them to my friend Marie, who is like my I want to get the normie take because, she's been around me forever. She knows a lot of this stuff because of me, but she's not a comic book fan. She's not necessarily a comic book movie fan. She's got to see them with me. She's enjoyed them. But like for the most part, like she's not into it. And she's certainly not into all of the discussion about it. She pays no attention.
Right.
So I just put on the trailer for her and, to get her reaction, because she kind of like tends to go along with what the normie reaction tends to be. And who's, somebody who's not as invested in these things, but just sees them as entertainment. And when we got to the end, she goes, I think it looks really good. She's like, I think I want to see it. She's like, I'm way burned out on superhero movies, but I want to see this.
See, and that's good.
Yeah. And she was like, I don't love the costume necessarily. And the guy, I don't know, like his face, like she goes, I liked Henry Cavill better. She goes, but this looks like a fun, hopeful movie.
Yeah. And you know what? If you can sell the normies, then you're probably going to do pretty well, right? I mean, and he has to. That's the thing. Warner Brothers has to sell the normies on this. It can't just be us. Which leads to another thing, though. It leads to me wondering, and I really have gotten out of the habit of doing this because it kind of takes some joy out of it. But I start thinking about the numbers, right? And I start thinking about, well, how well is this movie really going to do? How is it going to play out? How's that first week at the box office going to be? And this one is still it could be either way. It can go either way kind of thing, right? Like it's still not a guaranteed hit yet.
Yeah, it could blow up or it could be disappointing. And I think it's all going to depend upon what the word of mouth is and what the general feeling is from the normie side of the aisle. I don't think it matters what the comic book fans say about it. If it hits with the non-comic book crowd, and they like it and they're inspired by it and they have a good time, then I think it'll do really well. Will it hit $1 billion? I don't know, man. That's tough to do anymore.
It really is, man. I mean, which is crazy to think that the only $1 billion movie we might have this year is Minecraft.
I think Lilo and Stitch is going to do it.
Actually, you know what? You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I do think that's going to be a huge one for Disney. And honestly, right now, Disney needs all the wins they can get.
It's got to pay for all the other movies they've released this year.
It really is. Because, no, you're right. That movie is going to be huge. But it's not a lot of $1 billion films this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy to say that I don't know if Superman is going to be $1 billion film.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Fantastic Four is going to be. I think that tops out at 800 if it's a success.
You know what? I think you're right. I think at highest it'll probably reach about 7 or 8. Like I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion. So, and again, it's weird because the MCU, like there was a time when it was like printing money, right? Any film would do like about $1 billion. Now it's like everyone is scraping, man. Captain
Marvel made $1 billion. That tells you how strong just an MCU brand was.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Especially once people saw it and were like, yeah, this doesn't really set up anything for Endgame at all, really. Like, it just tells you who this character is, and that she wasn't even that important.
The Marvel name, the MCU name was in good standing back then. You know what I mean? And they could do no wrong. And even if they did wrong, we forgave them. Because it was like a rare miss for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was. And in the chat, Darth Plato reminded me Joker made $1 billion. That was insane that Joker made $1 billion.
That is bad shit. Like that is look, and I like the first Joker movie, and I still think it's crazy that it made $1 billion.
Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem like the type of movie that would.
Absolutely not. Like I look, it was, first of all, it was loosely a Joker movie. Right? Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't really even a Joker movie. We're being honest here.
Joker adjacent.
It was like, he slapped the Joker sticker on it. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And it still did $1 billion.
That's crazy.
No, Warner Brothers is killing it right now, man. I think for them, they're having a damn good year.
Yeah, they got Minecraft. I can't believe that.
Minecraft, Sinners. I mean, they got Superman, which is still going to do pretty well, even if it doesn't hit $1 billion. Warner is it seems like they're kind of shaping up, man. It seems like they're kind of getting it together and pulling themselves out of the DEI funk, right? Disney, on the other hand, I haven't seen any proof of it.
No, I mean Thunderbolts was fine. Like it's I didn't hate it. It entertained me, but I didn't love it. It was the bar that it had to clear was just don't suck. Don't completely suck, because Brave New World sucked, and everything that like so much that has come before sucked. The Marvels sucked. Like all these things were awful. And so just by virtue of being a competent movie, and for me, like not ending with a big fight against the CGI army and a beam in the sky, with some brown sludge smeared over the CGI, that was enough for me. Like that I was like, okay, it was a smaller story. I liked that it just kind of ended on the street and in like some rooms that were, like some office rooms and some labs that were in their minds. But, for me, that was different enough that I was like, okay, I didn't hate that, but it's not, we're so back.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I didn't care for it the first time I saw it, but it was weird. The second time I saw it, I was able to, like, for some reason enjoy it a little bit better than the first time. Mm-hmm. So again, not great. Let me put that out there. This is not a great film. Thunderbolts is not great, but it's entertaining. It's fine. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's just fun.
You want to eat some popcorn, go see it at matinee,
Look, man, I'm telling you right now, go have a few drinks, smoke a bowl if you have to, and just turn your brain off. And it's a fine movie.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that's the bar now. It's like, if a movie is fine, if I don't come out hating myself that I spent money on it, I feel like I did okay.
We joke, man, but I really hate that bar. Like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I do too.
I come from an era, and you do too, of good shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate that the bar is just don't suck. Right?
Remember going to the movie every week, and being excited? to go to the
every
movie
fucking week, man. I was
Mhm.
at the theater, sometimes twice a week,
Mm-hmm.
and by myself.
Yeah, and it was good times. Like we would like every Friday night, like our group of friends would get together and we'd go get dinner and then we'd go see whatever movie was out, and it was a blast. And like now, I go to the theater so infrequently because there's just so little that I'm interested in seeing. I even I didn't go to see Thunderbolts. My friend wanted to see that animated movie King of Kings, and we got in there and I'm watching it and it's like maybe 20 minutes in, and I turned to her and I was like, I hate this. I hate this so much. I was like, the narrative frame that they used was like this playwright and his kids like was misbehaving and ruined his play, so he's going to tell him this story about Jesus, and it keeps like cutting to the biblical story, but then they're putting the kid and his annoying cat in the actual like biblical scenes, but then they keep cutting back also to the the study so that you can have more time with the playwright talking to his boy in the real world. And the cat keeps making noise, like he's just like the whole time, like every time the cat's on screen they had to make him go like brr, 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 and react to everything. And I was getting like infuriated because I could not get into any part of the narrative. And I said, I'm gonna go to another theater, and just text me when you're out of here. And I got up and Thunderbolts was starting. And so I went and I sat down. 20 minutes of trailers go by. And then the movie just starts. And I look and she's coming up the stairs like to sit down with me. And I said, is the movie over or was it just that bad? She was like, I couldn't take anymore.
Wow.
She was like, I wanted to murder that kid and that cat with a brick.
So she couldn't stay on the bull either, huh?
No. So we both watched Thunderbolts and we're like, oh, this was a much better experience.
Well, it's funny because we are going to get more into Thunderbolts a little later on, just because obviously checking the box office and things like that. But we got to talk about the other trailer that dropped the same day as Superman, by the way, which was Ironheart. And we've all been waiting for it. We've all been like, thirsting for it, right? I mean, hell, after we saw her in Wakanda Forever, we knew that that's the hero that I want to follow. Yeah. So they've been threatening us with this series for about 3 years now, and they're finally pulling the trigger, and we're getting Ironheart. So this one we are going to watch the trailer for. I don't think I'm gonna get struck for this one at all.
Do we have to like cut into it, or
nah, we could just dive into it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let me. There we go. All right, folks, here it is. If you haven't seen it, this is the trailer for Disney's Ironheart.
Make sure you put Ryan Coogler's name up on there.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
So let's talk about that for a minute. Look, man, I know Ryan Coogler did have some involvement, like with this, like on a very like clerical level.
Executive producer,
producer. Like his hands have not touched this at all.
He's not the showrunner. They would love you to think that he's the showrunner.
Not even close. Not even close. The most he's done is like, I think he said something on social media about it. That's the most he's done with this whole show. I find it. I don't know, man. It's almost I feel embarrassed for him that his name is on this.
Especially after Sinners.
Especially after Sinners, man. It's like you're coming off this high of having this phenomenal movie that should not be doing as well as it is. But it is like killing it in the box office. And now you got to have your name attached to this shit.
You notice they didn't throw Sinners up on the screen. Contractually, they probably can't.
Good. Because oh my god, man! Can you imagine, like, if you haven't seen Sinners and then you see this and see his name on it?
That you're probably not going to go see Sinners at that point.
Oh god, let's get back to it.
For real.
Welcome, Mary. In less than 3 minutes, the air in this elevator will no longer be breathable.
Oh, what is that?
You're Harry. You'll suffocate and die unless you break into the device on the floor, where you'll find a gas mask. Good luck.
Screw this.
heard Riri Williams was a genius. So you win her out.
Oh, black character, gotta cue the hip
Riri,
hop.
I see you.
Yeah, so progressive Disney, right? I mean, anytime there's a black character, there has to be a bumping soundtrack, right?
The more I see this, the more I respect Halle Berry's Catwoman for using R&B instead of just going to hip hop.
This is God, man. You know what I like to do? I like to see the crew. I like to see who put all this together. Like, I want to see the team that put this trailer together.
More than half of the trailer is her breaking out of an elevator, and not even in a really impressive way. It's like she strips electrical wires with her teeth, hot wires the elevator, which is just okay. It's just pseudoscience that she did that. It's like a Star Trek episode where she might have said that she was reconfiguring the deflector array to emit a tachyon pulse to open the elevator doors. It's just as, it's the same thing. There's nothing technical there that they showed us that convinces us of this. And then they immediately have to tell us that she's a genius so that we get that, that gets across. Also, that guy as Parker Robbins, the Hood, what a terrible casting choice. He looks like one of the dudes from Hawkeye. Like, when I first saw him, I was like, is that one of the tracksuit mafia guys? And I was like, and then later in the trailer, I was like, oh no, that's supposed to be the Hood. And I couldn't stop laughing.
And you know what's sad about that is the actor, his name is Anthony Ramos. He's actually a really good actor. I've seen him in other things. He's actually not bad at all. But it's funny how even like decent actors, man, once they work for like the MCU, like, I don't know what it is. It brings out the worst in these actors, right? Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're told to underperform.
And they're like, let's give him a really weak mustache and a terrible perm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Got to have the perm.
Mm-hmm.
You're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
You are not the first genius at MIT.
How come
Two
you're not
geniuses.
working at one of those fancy tech firms?
After my internship abroad, I want to build something undeniable, something
Important?
iconic.
It's a brand new
I can give you the tools to help you carry out your vision. But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done. What will you do, Riri?
You've bitten off a hell of a lot more than you can chew.
I could chew a lot.
You know nothing about this man.
You're gonna end up dead or in jail.
This is so much bigger than that. This is wild. A shady bunker.
My bunker's not shady. Would a shady bunker have that on the wall?
It's literally above a crate of self-guided missiles.
I'm returning those.
Now, don't forget, she is smarter than Hank Pym, Tony Stark, and Bruce Banner.
And probably Reed Richards,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, of course, because, her and Shuri are the smartest people in the world.
And she's self-taught, of course. Like, she didn't learn it anywhere. She didn't spend any discipline attaining it. She just is. They have the same line in here that ruins every one of these characters from phase 5, that all through phase 5 up to the current, which is this is the coddling that they do for the female characters. It's always, you were always great. And everybody else just needs to realize that. There's no struggle. There's no overcoming anything. It's just you're great, and everyone else needs to step up and realize that.
Yeah, it's funny because Riri Williams, like, people keep saying, like, well, what else could they do with this? And I'm just like, well, first of all, they should just never have made it, because Riri Williams was never a good character to begin with.
No, and never a popular character.
No, like the comics, she was terrible in the comics. So why bring her to the big screen? Other than that, she's black, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other people of color in the comics that they could have brought to the screen instead of her.
Where's Blue Marvel, man? I just want to see Blue Marvel on the screen. They can't even get a Blade movie going.
Dude, where's brother Voodoo?
Yeah,
Right,
well,
like-
you know that one. Yeah, I would love to see Brother Voodoo. You know, it's like
Yeah, I
they
mean,
gotta
like,
do it.
where are these characters at, man? We're like the 70s black characters, man. Like we get Riri Williams, we get Ironheart, and we don't get Blade.
Yeah, no, you can't do Blade. Don't know how to do that. That's too
They,
complicated.
they don't know how to do a Blade movie, but we get this.
You got
This
three
is-
Blade movies. Well, two Blade movies that you could draw from, and maybe that third one not so much. But you know, two good Blade movies that you could draw from as inspiration. You've got all kinds of
Hey,
comic books.
the third one had its charm. Wasn't great.
I
but
do
it-
like things about 3.
Hey, the third one gave us Triple H as a vampire.
That's true, and I did like Parker Posey. I thought she was fun. You know, one of the things about 3, I do like the scene where he goes into the vampire shop, and that little twink is like being snotty to him, and Dracula just straight up kills him. I like
Yeah.
that. Throws him out there, throws him through the window before he kills the girl.
Again, not a great film, but it had
no.
its charm.
It had its moments, yeah. You know, I mean, I'll look at Jessica Biel all day.
Oh, absolutely. Young
Mhm.
Jessica Biel, yeah. And a young Ryan Reynolds. Like I forget he's in that film for some reason. But
Yeah, no, he was pretty good in it. I enjoyed him at the time, and I mean, I didn't enjoy Patton Oswalt, but then I rarely enjoy Patton Oswalt.
yeah, he turned out to be a complete asshole. But no, I honestly, man, I what I think happened was, and I'm pretty sure this is the case, is that they had the contract, they couldn't shelve this show. They had to put it out. What's probably going to happen is we're probably going to get a bunch in a row. Like we'll probably get like 3 in a row just so they can get rid of it. And the way they could justify it is, well, they did the same thing for Andor, so they could say they're not singling it out. Because Echo, they just dumped the whole thing.
Yeah.
All at once. So, and I'd be really kind of surprised if they don't do that with this.
I mean, I think that they said they're doing 3-episode premiere, and then I think there's 3 more episodes after that. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I think it's like, you know, I don't know. It's like, are you trying to get it to chart? Is that what you're trying to get it to do? Because it's not going to, and no one's going to come in on this. The only question is, does this do worse than Echo? I mean, I probably can't because of, you know, Echo, they did dump all at once and then just forget about it. But, you know, I don't know if this does much better.
It doesn't do much better, but it definitely does better than Echo. I think Echo, I still haven't seen Echo.
I watched part of Echo.
Yeah, I think it does a little bit better, but not by much. The one positive thing I can say about the trailer is it at least feels like her suit has some weight to it, right? Like
I don't mind the suit design.
I'm tired of the nanotech. I'm tired of the armor just appearing. I like the feeling of the armor being built around you, like in the old Iron Man films. You know, like I hate all this nanotech stuff, man. It's like a cheap way to get around like real costuming. So I do like
it gives you the ability to pull the mask off really quick, you know, so the actor can have FaceTime. You know,
yeah, I
don't
can't
like
stand that.
Don't
Like,
sign
I
up to be
like-
a superhero if you want. You know, don't sign up to be a masked superhero if you want your face on screen. You know, go in like Carl Urban in Dread.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And to me, that's the standard, right? Like that's like Dread is to me one of the best comic book films of all time. And I wasn't even a big Judge Dredd fan back in the day. Like I read the books, but I wasn't like the biggest fan of it. But I love Dredd as a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
If I'm being
I read
honest,
some of the books, but
if I'm being honest, I still kind of like the Stallone version of Dredd too.
it's a product of its time. It's
a
very
product of
big,
its time.
big dumb, big dumb action movie, and you can, like you said, you can smoke a bowl or have a gummy or two and just sit back and have
Just
a
turn
good
your
time.
brain off and watch Stallone be Stallone, right?
It's worth it for Max von Sydow. It's worth it for Armand Assante just chewing the scenery as the bad guy.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, it's again, it has its charm. It's got Diane Lane in it. You know, like.
And you know what? That was Armand Assante. That was his Joker, basically.
Yeah, and he did a great job. Like he was the best part of the movie for me.
Oh no, absolutely. I don't. I think Disney just wants to get rid of the show. They just want it done. From what I've heard about it, there's also, I guess, a cameo from Mephisto. I know I'm giving away spoilers here, but
couldn't have Mephisto in WandaVision where it made sense. So let's cram him into Ironheart where it makes no sense. You know, because traditionally, Parker Robbins, the Hood, serves Dormammu. But it looks like they're swapping him out for Mephisto.
Yeah, they're swapping him out.
What a terrible place to introduce a major villain like Mephisto in an Ironheart show that nobody's going to watch.
They literally could have did that for WandaVision. You're right. Like it would have made a lot more like sense for Mephisto to be, connected with the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, to be honest with you. But they don't know what they're doing then. Like, look, you know what? Maybe this is all stuff that they realized they screwed up on, but it was too late. Right? It was too late to take it back.
I hope, but how many times have we heard Bob Iger say, the problem was quantity over quality, and we're returning to quality? He's been saying that for like 6 years.
But it's not even about quantity, man. It's about just DEI shit. It's about just like this woke shit that we went under for like the past 5 years. And that's what it's really about, man. Like there's no reason we should have an Ironheart show.
No.
You know what I mean?
They skipped so much Marvel history to get to the 3 horsewomen of the apocalypse.
Oh,
God. Because the 3 horsewomen of the apocalypse for Marvel Comics, Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan, and Ironheart. And they skipped all these stories to get us here, and it is proven just as unsuccessful in the films as it did in the comic books, except for the fact that you lost much more money on the films because they cost so much more. But like if you would have used the comics as R&D, if you wouldn't have moved away from them, if you wouldn't have moved away from having an old school kind of comic brain trust to tell you, where these stories should go and where these stories could go. Once you got to the point where you were bringing in writers from Rick and Morty and telling them, oh, don't read the comic books. We just want you to just riff off of what you've seen in the movies. And then you watch and you're like, did they even see the movies? Because, they're making mistakes that I wouldn't make just as a viewer. Granted, I'm a writer as well, but like I wouldn't have made this mistake because I actually know the movies.
Right.
They've screwed up their continuity. They've shot themselves in the foot in so many ways, and they killed their momentum. And I don't think that you get it back with a Fantastic Four movie right before your big Avengers event movie. I don't think you get it back.
But you know what's funny, man? Like when I think about how badly the MCU has dropped the ball, it's weird because every now and then, there'll be like these little nuggets, right? Like I remember like in a sea of shit, we had got Werewolf by Night, which I thought was great. It was phenomenal. I loved Werewolf by Night, man. It had that feel, right? It had that feel of not of a what if, but just like a one-off, right? Like a Marvel one-off. And I just wish like we had got more little things like that. You know what I mean? Just like, okay, fine. Here are the movies, here's the big screen stuff, but here's some really cool like, inside baseball stuff. If you're a real hardcore like comic book fan, you'll get into this. That's where we should have got the first appearance of Moon Knight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night. We should have got it there, but whatever.
I do a second one. Not everybody needs a show right away.
No, like they don't, man.
The comics are such a great model because like Moon Knight didn't start out with a series. He showed up in Werewolf by Night, hunting, hunting the werewolf, hunting Jack Russell. Then you do it that way. Like if they just did a series of one-shots, and one-shots was something that they knew how to do. They don't know how to do episodic television. They still haven't learned it, and they haven't brought in anybody who can tell them how to do it, because I don't know if they don't want to spend the money, or just everybody with talent is like, I'm not touching that, or they're like, I don't have enough creative control to go in and do this. Like I was just I was watching a video by Caravan of Garbage today, the Weekly Planet guys, and they were talking about Thor: The Dark World. And they were saying how the director said that like he shot a completely different movie than was locked out of the editing suite.
Oh, wow.
And then the movie that came out was just cobbled together, like edited together, and it wasn't his movie. And then they were like, well, who did the editing? And the editing was done by Kevin Feige. Remember, the genius who finds the film in the editing room. Thor: The Dark World was on the bottom of pretty much everybody's lists, when they would rank the MCU movies, until Love and Thunder came out. And now that's at the bottom of everybody.
Oh, dude! Now Thor 2 is like high up there compared to like what we've gotten over the past 5 years.
Yeah, it's like it's Love and Thunder, Quantum Mania, the Marvels. Well, actually, the Marvels and then Quantum Mania, maybe, because at least Paul Rudd's still entertaining. And Thor 2's moving up.
At the end of the day, Paul Rudd is likable, so and that can go pretty far these days.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you're absolutely right. I don't know, man. Bottom rung, like the worst MCU film. Wow, it literally might be the Marvels. I think you're right.
No, I think Love and Thunder is worse.
The
Marvels is dumb and kind of boring.
Yeah, damn.
Love and Thunder is actually teeth-gratingly irritating.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me because I despise the Marvels. Like that whole cat scene. I was ready to burn that theater down, dude.
What about the Bollywood scene? How did that do for you?
Oh, the Bollywood, the Disney princess scene, you mean?
Yeah.
Dude, okay. If they had marketed this movie for girls, right? This is for the girls, I'd be fine with it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, if the girls want to watch this and support it like they did Barbie, sure, go ahead. But oh man, I want to burn that theater down.
It was still men that went and supported the movie. It was still men that went and saw Madam Web. So this idea that like everybody's so misogynist, you can't have a female-led movie because guys are so misogynist. It's us that are going.
I agree.
Women aren't supporting these things.
Where
they're not interested in superheroes.
The men are the ones who watched Agatha all along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's wild, dude. And again, it goes to show you that the people who started this, the Disney Plus era, I mean, they didn't really know what they were doing. What Disney Plus should have been, it should have been the one shots. It should have been things that weren't like directly connected to the films. You know what I mean? Like stuff that the films maybe affected, but not the other way around. Not where the shows infect the movies, right? Because that's how we get Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, where again, if you didn't watch WandaVision, you would have no idea what was going on in that movie.
Yeah.
At all, right? And you can say the same thing about even the Thunderbolts, right? Like if you didn't watch like, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier and some of the other shows, you know, you might have been a little lost. But the difference is that Thunderbolts did it so much better where you necessarily didn't have to know, but still, you know, they took a gamble on characters that unless you saw the show, you wouldn't know.
Yeah. My friend had forgotten who Taskmaster was, who Ghost was, and who John Walker was. Like the only two characters that she remembered were Yelena and Red Guardian.
Yeah.
And so she was
that's
like,
because Black Widow was a movie, you know?
Yeah, she was like, who's this again? But she watched all those shows with me. You know, it's like, but she was like, who's this again? Who's this again?
No, it was totally forgettable, man. I think they went about Disney Plus completely wrong, man. Disney Plus could have been a great addition to the movies, you know. But when they started trying to make it as important as the movies, that's where they screwed up. Because we could have got some great, like, honestly, man, if we had got like a Thunderbolts TV show instead of a movie, but like back when it started, and use like the real Thunderbolts, not this makeshift team that they came up with. Like stuff like that is where Disney Plus could have shined.
Yeah, Thunderbolts is such a missed opportunity just in the, you know, in the execution of what they did versus what they could have done. And you know, if you hadn't started killing your villains and you had actually like had in your head that at some point we're going to do a Thunderbolts movie, you know, you had Baron Zemo set up, you could have had villains set up, and you could have done the whole replacement Avengers thing, but where they're the villains and they're trying to get, you know, they're trying to achieve an objective by pretending to be heroes. That was what made that Thunderbolts first series so great. And the really great part was, because I was there at the time. Like, man, you didn't know until you turned that last page. They actually managed to keep it secret that it was the Masters of Evil, and it was fantastic.
Dude, that was such a great reveal, man. I still own that comic to this day. I love the original Thunderbolts run, man. I think that's like one of the few times where like Marvel blew me away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like even back then, like I was completely blown away. What's crazy to me about the Thunderbolts, though, in the movie is like they had all the characters, well, a lot of the characters there, right? They had Zemo already in the MCU. They had Crossbones already in the MCU. They had Bullseye already in the MCU, right? I mean, we're going to mix and match the Thunderbolts here. Obviously, they weren't the original team, but at one point they were part of the team, right? They literally just had Captain America: Brave New World with Red Hulk, who was a part of the Thunderbolts.
Yep.
In the comic, like, what are they doing?
Well, I mean, you're not getting Harrison Ford to come in and do that again.
Well, no. But here's the thing: if you keep him as Red Hulk, you don't need him to.
That's true. You just CGI him.
CGI.
Give him some money for his face. He doesn't even have to come in and do the performance.
Or sub him out with the Abomination.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
You know,
but not
like,
the She-Hulk abomination where he's, you know,
oh, absolutely not.
a completely different character. But
we're talking Incredible Hulk, Incredible Hulk abomination. But no, I just I don't know, man. It's frustrating, especially the guys like us, because we look at this stuff and we're like, oh my god, for what these people get paid, we could have done so much better.
Yeah,
for what they get paid, we could have done so much better than that.
I was just talking today about the because I oversaw the Incredibles comic books, based on the Disney Pixar movie. I oversaw those when I was working for Boom, and I worked with a really great writer that I really like his stuff, Landry Walker. And so we crafted like this whole run of the Incredibles where we were going to build up to this major storyline, and we had all this stuff going. And man, if we would have gotten to finish that at like what we were doing, it's better than the Incredibles 2. You know, the Incredibles 2 was such a disappointment. It seems like everybody I talk to, the only thing that they like about it is the Bob side of the story. You know, where he's at home taking care of the kids.
Right.
The Mrs. Incredible half of it, the Elastigirl, they don't care. The Screenslaver, well, I think that's a cool name. Totally, you know, like you knew who that villain was. There was no red herring that was working. Like you were like, oh, it's that chick. Like there was no surprise to it. It wasn't great. And I think that what we were doing was really great. I think that I had a Finding Nemo pitch in that was better than Finding Dory as a sequel, or at least as a third film that would have worked. You know, I was doing Toy Story stuff with Jesse Blaze Snyder that could have, they could have used as springboards into a million things. So there's creativity on these lower levels, but because you're not part of the Hollywood system, because you're in comic books, you're looked down on. They don't see you. And you even see this with Marvel Studios. As quickly as they could get away from the comic writers, they did. And they brought in Hollywood screenwriters and told them, just do your thing, man. No, don't read the comic. Don't read the source material. Just do your thing. And this is the result. So that's the genius of Kevin Feige, is that he thought that it doesn't matter what they shoot. I can cobble it together in the editing room because I'm the genius that built all this. And you're not. You stood on the shoulders of giants and you benefited from their creativity. I
was just about to say that. I think Kevin Feige got revealed right after Endgame. It was like, okay, you don't have these great people behind you anymore. So what are you going to do? And then we saw what he did for the past 5 years.
Yep.
Or however long it's been since Endgame, but it feels like forever. But no, he got revealed, man, and now they're in crisis mode now, right? Like now they're in trouble. Now they're trying to figure out how they're going to salvage the MCU. Because I'm telling you right now, and I'm gonna keep saying it, man. Like Fantastic Four is going to say a lot as far as where we're going to go with the MCU. I think Doomsday is going to do fine. I'm sure Secret Wars is going to do fine. Is it going to do fine enough though? Is it going to do like in-game numbers? Is it going to do Infinity War numbers?
God,
like I don't know.
And I think the dark horse in this summer's movie season, both a threat to Superman and to Fantastic Four, is Jurassic World, because it doesn't matter how bad those movies are. Right. They make $1 billion. Dominion was terrible. Like I watched it at home and I had to keep stopping it, and then finally like forced my way to, through the end of it because I told somebody that I would talk about it with them. But man, I would have turned that movie off. I hated every moment of that. And just so bloated and contrived, and not giving you what you want or what they promised. The Jurassic World movies are the Resident Evil of the Jurassic Park franchise.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And
that's bad. That is really
you get
bad.
an ending that promises something that then they don't get. They hand wave away in the first 5 minutes of the next one because they didn't really think it through.
Dude, Resident Evil was so like that series is so bad, but I did see something recently on Twitter, and I think you saw it too, where Anthony Starr wants to play Wesker.
Yes,
yes. And I'm kind of behind that. I'm not gonna lie. Like
he might actually have enough clout. He might have enough clout to get a good script.
Yeah. But he would be a great Wesker, though.
He'd be fantastic.
Dude, Homelander as Wesker.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not going to be a surprise to moviegoers when he turns out to be to be a bad guy, even if they like fake his death or whatever. Like, they're still going to be like, no, that's the bad guy right there. Yeah. Even if they've never seen anything Resident Evil, just because it's Anthony Starr and he's so sinister.
But no, you're right, man. Jurassic Park. I don't know what it is about that franchise, but people will watch it no matter what.
Mm-hmm. They just want to see dinosaurs.
I guess so, but I mean,
even stupid made up ones like
the dinosaurs do. They do the same things in every film, right? And people still show up for these movies, right? And look, you can say that about Godzilla, sure, and I will watch whatever Godzilla movie comes out. but still, though. You know what I mean?
Sometimes Godzilla fights, a flying kaiju. Sometimes he fights one that opens its little clawed mouth and it shoots out bombs. There's different ones that he's fighting at least.
That is true. And I'm one of the few people who actually liked Godzilla King of Monsters.
Mm-hmm. No, I liked King of Monsters. It was New Empire.
Because I don't find a lot of people who liked it, man. I'm like, it was a good film.
Mm-hmm.
It was
a good Godzilla movie. It was no -1, but it was a good Godzilla movie.
Well, what is?
That's true.
What is, dude? Godzilla -1 is a masterpiece of a film.
Mm-hmm. But it's the only Godzilla film where I've ever cared about the human characters in the movie.
Yes.
Where I'm not just like, come on, let's get past this human stuff so I can see more monsters.
But also, it's one of the few Godzilla movies too where they make him like scary, like he's menacing in that film, man. Like it's almost like a horror film, really.
Yeah.
And
one film that I liked at the time, I don't know how it holds up, but because it had kind of that horror element was Cloverfield. I thought that -1 really did like a better job of that kind of like, here's this looming threat and here's these people that you're following as they're trying to deal with it. It was just like a better version of that.
Cloverfield was phenomenal, man. I still hold that one pretty high. I think like I remember seeing it in the theater, not knowing anything about it. I didn't know what Cloverfield was even about. And I remember I go watch that film and I left there like, wow, that's one of the best films I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I think it was, isn't it the same guy that did like, he was involved with season 1 of Daredevil on Netflix and he did Cabin in the Woods? I think it's the same guy.
I believe so. Wait, I thought it was Joss Whedon who did Cabin in the Woods. Am I wrong?
He did it with this guy who I think his name's Drew something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But he does good stuff.
Yeah, no, Cloverfield. I didn't care. I didn't care for all the sequels. Well, I don't even know if there were sequels. They were just kind of like
in the universe
movies that had the Cloverfield name attached to it. But I didn't care for those as much, even though some were good. The one with John Goodman was pretty good, but nothing beats that first Cloverfield, man.
Yeah, no, it was just really well done. I did get invested in the characters. The girl that he's trying to rescue, insanely hot. Just everything that.
And just having the whole movie shot in like hand cam, I thought was like genius.
And TJ Miller's actually fun. TJ Miller's funny in it. Like
he's hilarious.
I like the bit where he's talking to it's an actress that I like, but again I can't recall her name. Where she says something about Superman. And he's like, wait, you know who Superman is? Like all impressed, and then she mocks him. She goes, hold on, are you aware of Garfield? Like just. That was a good bit.
Yeah, no, it was solid. Really quickly, we got oops, I did something wrong. Here we go. This is man, you guys kill me with these names, boy. Captain Keebs. Am I reading that right?
That works for me. It looks like Captain Keebs to me.
Captain Keebs. Love you, man. Thank you so much. Gifted 10 Verbal Riot memberships. You are a saint, my friend. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. But since we're talking about the Thunderbolts, I got the numbers. So because I've been kind of tracking how well it's been doing, and let's see, let me pull it up. All right, so and this is what, the third week?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's week 3.
I think it might be week 3. Right now they're sitting at 280 mil. Not bad. International, they did about 143, domestic 136. The problem is that the budget for this was about 280. And that's being conservative, right? Conservatively, it was about 280 mil. So at best, they're kind of breaking even, if that number is even true.
They got a chance to break even. I don't know. It depends on how it legs out. It didn't have the big drop that like Brave New World and some of the other ones have had. So it wasn't as catastrophic.
Look, it's still holding. I mean, it's the number 1 film still this week.
Yeah, it's got not a lot of competition.
Yeah, there's no competition. People need something to do. It's summertime. People want to cool off. The movie theaters are normally air conditioned, so they'll go watch something, right? So it's not doing bad at all. I mean, I think at best it might eke out a little profit.
It'll be like a Quantum Mania where they're like, we made $40,000. 40,000 profit.
Let me see. Just
You'd have been better off putting that money in the bank.
So yeah, the box office is Thunderbolts, Sinner's still in there, man. That's insane. Sinners and The Accountant 2, which I mean, all these make sense to me. But
wait, The Accountant 2 it only made 575,000
this week. This week. Let's see. Overall, I mean, we could look at it right now. Okay. Overall, it's made 84 mil. That's not good. But
No.
International 31, domestic 53. Yeah, 84 million for a Ben Affleck film is probably not great.
No, I mean, I barely remembered the first Accountant when they announced The Accountant 2. So that's another thing. It's like you give, you have a hit you have a film that's a modest hit, and then you do a sequel to it, but you do it so much later that people have kind of like forgotten about it.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone was expecting anything from that movie, but I mean, I guess it's doing better than expected. That's still pretty bad though. That's not good. But yeah, no, Thunderbolts is holding, man. And for the most part, look, I guarantee you, we're not going to get a sequel to this film. There's not going to be a Thunder or a new Avengers. Well, I don't know, maybe it's going to be new Avengers. I mean, they keep coming up with weird shit, but I don't think we're going to see this team again until probably Secret Wars or maybe Doomsday.
They're all in Doomsday. Yeah, they've all been announced in Doomsday, but who knows what anybody's role is? I mean, they are like, for me, like they were like, once they announced that Shang-Chi and Namor were in Doomsday, I was like, oh, I'm losing interest. And I was already losing interest because Pedro Pascal is in it. There's just like so many people now that I don't like. I'm just tired of seeing them. That
dude, I'll never forgive them for what they did to Neymar, man. Like I just won't. We should have got number one, we should have got T'Challa recast.
Mm-hmm.
We should have had the Black Panther in the film, and we should have got the real Neymar in that movie. We should have got Atlanteans. We should have got a dude who looked like Neymar, a dude who was ripped, a guy who looked like he was scary as shit. We should have got Neymar, and we didn't get Neymar. So
there's an Asian actor. I think he's half white, half Asian. Dude is jacked, dude is tall, and the dude has Namor eyebrows already. And I was like, this guy's the perfect casting for Namor. But no, we didn't
go with that.
No, we didn't go with that because Victoria Alonso had to do her little Aztec thing, He's the boy who wasn't loved. That's what his name means. Yeah, that's much cooler than his name meaning Avenging Son. That's so much cooler.
See, look, this is why we gatekeep.
Yeah,
this is why we gatekeep. This is why we have to gatekeep, y'all, because these people don't understand our properties, man. They don't understand the things that we love, and we got to gatekeep. We got to do this stuff. Like I don't care so much for the culture war stuff. I really don't. I know it seems like it's a part of what we do on YouTube, but it's really not for me. But at the same time, I'm watching these people take things I have loved for years, money spent, my allowance money, my first job, I spent all my paychecks on comics, and they take the things that we love and they just bastardize them, man. And we got to gatekeep, y'all. I'm sorry, but we do.
Yeah, no, you need to keep out the this is the same thing that I said, but like all the way back, you take like G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra.
Oh, yeah.
You get that property, and then the first thing you do is you take away everything that's iconic about that property. They're not a real American hero. They're real international heroes, and they work for the UN, because we got to be global. They can't be American. And then you got to like diversify all of the cast, and then you put Marlon Wayans in there, which is a whole other thing. Just being goofy ass Marlon Wayans. You make him Ripcord, who's like a redheaded Irish guy. Was that like one of the first ginger sides that we ever saw?
It was one of them. It was definitely one of the first.
There are black characters in G.I. Joe. You could have cast a serious black actor. You could have made him Stalker. But instead, no. What did you do? You went with the comic relief,
which is crazy. Like, why wouldn't they go with Stalker?
I guess because you couldn't make him goofy. At least they didn't make Marlon Stalker and then make Stalker goofy. But still, it's just. And then on top of it, the costume designer comes in. You have some of the most iconic looking characters in geekdom, in pop culture. I could show people who don't know anything about G.I. Joe a picture of Cobra Commander in his classic uniform. They'll be like, oh, that's Cobra Commander. Or oh, that's Destro. That's Storm Shadow. People know these characters. We were robbed, man. Yeah, and instead, the costume designer comes in and goes, no, all the Joes will be in black leather, and all the Cobra guys are going to look dumb as hell. Because I'm going to put my mark on this. Spin.
That's back when these studios were ashamed of costumes, right? That's why we got the X-Men in all black leather instead of their classic outfits, right? Because they're ashamed of the costumes. G.I. Joe should have been, dude, that should have been a home run. Yeah. Right? Cobra Commander in full gear and Destro in the full gear, Zartan, we should have got all of that.
Mm-hmm. And you can slick it up a little bit for the screen, but it has to evoke.
Give us the iconic looks though, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only ones they gave us really were Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and even Storm Shadow not completely, but
and Snake Eyes had lips. He had rubber lips on his mask.
Yeah, that was.
What was that about?
That was weird and stupid, man.
Everybody looked better in the second one. It's like Cobra Commander got closer. Storm Shadow was the same pretty much, but Snake Eyes got better.
They
did a couple of things.
And I enjoyed God, what's that actor's name? The one that played Firefly.
Oh, Ray Stevenson. Yeah,
Ray Stevenson. I thought he was fun in that, so no, you're right. The second movie to me was a little bit more enjoyable. I had more fun with the second film. But I just wish we could have got those iconic looks.
Yeah, would have been good. You might have hit a home run. Script still wasn't great, but
but those are the things that we cared about, man. And I've been seeing pictures for this new Masters of the Universe movie, and Tila looks okay. She looks fine. She's not wearing the bikini bottoms, unfortunately, because the actress is hot. She's not wearing the classic Tila one piece or onesie.
Yeah, it's.
But she looks good enough, but it's weird seeing Prince Adam in jeans, right?
Yeah, it's like because it's got to be on Earth because that worked out so well the first time they did it.
Why
I don't want to see these characters come to Earth. I want to see the characters on the world that they're supposed to be part of.
Eternia, they need to be in Eternia. Like I don't understand that, man.
And I know the script is like it's like I've seen at least one draft of the script. And it started. They've hidden Adam on Earth to keep him away from Skeletor, and then they come and Skeletor finds him, and then they come and they get him, and then the movie moves to Eternia. But still, it's like I don't need any of that. Just give me the whole thing on Eternia.
Yeah, no, I agree. I understand why they did in the 80s. I mean, I don't approve of it, but I understand it. It was obviously it would have cost a fortune for them to shoot the whole thing in Eternia, which also I don't understand because we got Star Wars and all these other films back in the day. Right, that took place in other worlds and galaxies. So I don't know why we couldn't have got Eternia, but let's just say for shits and giggles, it costs too much. Fine, whatever. It's the 80s, right?
Yeah. Well, Canada lost their ass on Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, and some other things that they did. So,
well, that makes sense because Superman 4 was bad. Superman 4 was bad, dude. Like I remember, I used to be okay. So back in the early 2000s, I was part of this bad movie club where we get together once a month and we watch 3 bad movies in a row. But it was kind of like a mystery. What do you call it?
Mystery Science Theater. Where you would mock
Science Theater. So it was kind of along those lines where a bunch of friends would get together. We watch 3 bad movies in a row. We'd have a bunch of alcohol and food, and it was a good time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I do remember watching it and enjoying it, but I was really lit. So I guess
that's absolutely. I mean, it's not without its charms.
Yeah, again, it is what it is, and for movies back in those days, man. Look, Superman 4. It's probably better than the Marvels, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I'd rather
Masters of the Universe is better than the Marvels. It's better
I'd rather watch Superman 4 than Love and Thunder. I'll put it to you that way. So, but it was even bad for its time. So,
Patrick Lemire has a great comment. He says Superman 4 wasn't shot on film; it was shot on cocaine.
You
That's where all
know,
the money went.
here's the thing, Patrick. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. A lot of movies were built off of cocaine back in those days, so were filmed off of cocaine.
Do we need to go back to like Hollywood being cocaine fueled? It seemed like everything was better then.
I've been saying this for years, man. I feel like the writers' room was never more lit than back in the 80s, man. Like you threw those writers in a room, you locked them in there, you just threw a mountain of cocaine on the table, and they came out with a show.
Yeah, I mean? You know, something that was a banger. That's why I love that Key and Peele sketch about Gremlins too. You know, he just comes in and says, wait, you said nothing was final. That was before I heard the words.
You know what? We got shit done back in those days. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? I was talking to Chris Gore about this the other day too. We were talking about how it's weird how it's the way that the industry functioned back in those days. Yeah, it was dysfunctional and there were a lot of bad things, casting couch, all the things you hear about Harvey Weinstein, that stuff. And again, he's not the only monster in Hollywood, guys. Like he's the one that got caught.
He's the one that they sacrificed to keep you from looking into all the rest of them.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Things were bad, but there was a system in place. And that system delivered good movies. So say what you want to about it. I mean, yeah, it was flawed, but we got better shit out of it.
We definitely did.
Well, that's because back then, you know, they actually hired real writers and they hired real directors. And, you know, it was about being the best, right? It was about and making the studio money. Where now it's not even about that anymore.
Yeah, no, now it's like you get people who are like, well, I don't understand why the studio needs to make money. We just need to be able to do whatever we want to do.
Right. Virtue signal. That's what movies are about now.
The chat
Although
wants
I think there is a shift coming, but
I hope so. I think that the big studio system, I think we're going to see a lot of the big studio system collapse, and we're going to have like a new rise of indie film, and then that'll reshape kind of the and really it needs to. The industry can't run the way that it's run any longer. You know, it's a different world. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you know what though? You're right though, because now that you bring that up, that's what happened in the 90s. Mm-hmm. When movies started getting really stale, all of a sudden, like independent film came and saved movies, man. Miramax, right? I mean, you had the Tarantino movies, you had Rodriguez, you had these young guns that appeared out of nowhere, right? These young directors, these guys who were changing the industry, and it forced the big studios to change what they were doing. So I think we kind of need that again. We need that injection of like young blood to come in there, man, and you know, piss off the studios and say, okay, if we can't beat them, we got to join them, and it'll force them to make better movies.
Yeah, anything at this point that disrupts just the corporate slot machine of, you know, they're just spewing out raw sewage continuously and telling you to eat it up. You know, I think is a good thing. So, you know, this is like people get upset when you're like, you know, no, I actually want Hollywood to burn to the ground, and then I want something good to grow up from the ashes. You know, that's what has to happen. You know, there has to be a change. So, you know, I'm glad to see, you know, I don't root for things to fail, but when they come out with these things that are just cynical cash grabs that are wrapped around a lecture about how you know, Hollywood is the last place that should be lecturing anybody. Any sort of morality. Like you are a town, you are a business run by pedophiles. Okay, so you don't get to tell anybody else, and that's why that Ricky Gervais speech at the Golden Globes was so refreshing.
And that's why he'll never get invited back.
That's right, because he's going to tell him. And I love the fact that he's got up there and just did not care. And, and
zero fucks.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew he'll never come back.
Yep.
So I don't know if you was watching if you watched Andor or not.
I tried to watch the first season. I got like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I think the only reason that I was able to not turn it off, because I'm so turned off by Disney Star Wars now. Like it's fair. Just anything Star Wars, like I kind of just avoid because they've made me, they've just put such a bad taste in my mouth with, that's what Hollywood does, by the way. You know, it's just I've got such disdain for Star Wars as a property now. The only reason I was able to get through it was because Andor felt like generic sci-fi show. So since they weren't throwing member berries at me, I could kind of just get invested in the story, and I was enjoying it for a while, but I haven't gone back to it.
I will say this, and I'm not going to get into like a full thing about it because I'm actually going to do a separate video on it. I think for me, man, I really like the first season, but I feel like this season, this current season that we're in right now, this feels more like Star Wars than I've seen from anything in the past like 5 years. Like it really hits these notes, man. And the one thing I love about Andor, if I'm being honest, is for the first time in like a while, like the Empire feels scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the Empire, they're scary because they're competent, right? And I feel like we haven't really seen that aspect or that side of the Empire. I thought everyone just brought their A game. They killed it. Stellan Skarsgård, no matter what you put him in, he's going to do well for the most part. But he was probably like the Steen Stiller in both seasons. Ben Mendelsohn was menacing. He was scary. He was everything he was in Rogue One, like amped up in this second season. So, again, I'm not going to get into a whole review of it because I'm saving that. But I just feel like if Kathleen Kennedy were going to retire, now would be the time to do it. Because I know she made that comment where she says she wants to go out on top. Mm-hmm. Star Wars, and people will argue with me about this all they want. It's not going to get any better than this.
No, it's got nowhere to go under Kathleen Kennedy. It's like, this is the high point. It's critically acclaimed. The audience that's watched it seems to largely enjoy it. I know the numbers aren't there, but you know what? This is the highest of high points you're going to get under your tenure. It's not going to be this god-awful Starfighter movie you're doing with Ryan Gosling. It's not going to be this the James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi series that apparently nobody's talking about anymore. So it's probably another vaporware series that Kathleen Kennedy announced.
Wait, is that still happening?
This is it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it is. At least nobody's talking about it. He's on some other project now.
Wow.
So I think it's just going to get Ryan Johnson, where we're just going to stop talking about it.
Well, you know what? I mean, that's fine. Kind of like they did with Daisy Ridley, right? I mean, that poor girl, man. Like they are literally playing with her emotions, dude. Like this is so bad what they're doing to her. Like they keep promising her, like, this movie, this franchise, and dude, she's going to be too old to play Rey.
Yeah. Well, maybe, she'll be bitter on a planet drinking alien titty milk and just really bitter, but we can just repeat it. Because, it's like poetry. It rhymes. We'll just make the same movie again. It rhymes. George said so.
I used to be really upset by what they did to Luke, man. But then Mark Hamill destroyed Luke way more than Lucasfilm did. So
no, it's almost like he walked onto set and Ryan Johnson was like, you know what? I'm just going to make Luke you.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, my God. You're right. Oh, that is sad, man.
So maybe Ryan Johnson is a secret genius.
Now that you say it, man, dude, Mark Hamill has become a cautionary tale, man. Like, and you hate to see it, right? You hate to see your heroes fall off the cliff, but he really did, man.
Yeah, no, he's gone insane. It's funny because now my favorite Luke in pop culture is from Street Fighter 6. And then after that, it's the Luke Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard. Luke Skywalker's fallen down that list.
I by the way, I hate Luke players when I'm playing Street Fighter 6 online. I'm just saying. They give me the hardest time, dude. It just pisses me off so much.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a Yuri Han guy, so.
Yeah, no, I love Yuri. She is probably she's one of my mains. But Luke is a asshole.
Yeah, no, he can key you up. I think there's a reason that he's on the cover of the game. Is they're like, this is our guy now.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fighting game guy. So for me, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I play Tekken. I'm not the biggest Tekken player, but I get my wins. But
I
I
like
think
all those characters. I want 6-inch scale action figures of everybody from every fighting game. I don't care how obscure it is. Give me Samurai Showdown. Give me
Samurai Showdown. Yeah.
Yeah, give me. I'm like, how insane is it that we've never had really good posable figures of the Killer Instinct crew? That's insane to me.
That what, and it's wild because Killer Instinct did come back.
Mm-hmm.
Like it did come back and did fairly okay on the Xbox, man. I think what killed it is that it didn't go to both consoles, and that's usually what happens when something is console specific. It doesn't make as much money as it could, but but no, I am surprised by that. I'm also surprised that because for me, I'm a big Soul Calibur guy too, and Soul Calibur it's one of my favorite fighting games. So I mean, I'm surprised we didn't get like more merch out of that too. Yeah,
there's a specific Soul Calibur, like when Ivy's costume and rack gets ridiculous, that's when I started to like it less. Just like that was kind of like the dip in quality for the whole game. That was the visual representation of it. But man, when that first came out on the was it the Saturn or the Dreamcast? It was
the Saturn.
The Saturn. I bought the Saturn specifically for Soul Calibur, and man, that I loved the hell out of that game. I would love figures.
It was phenomenal, man. Mm-hmm. And then when you had Soul Calibur 2 come out, and it was on all 3 consoles, and each one had a console specific character.
Yep.
Like I thought that was so cool, man. Like Nintendo had Link, Xbox had Spawn, and PlayStation had Heihachi from Tekken.
Yep.
And they did the same thing with Star Wars, because I remember in Soul Calibur 4, the PlayStation got Vader and the Xbox got Yoda.
Yeah, and then somebody had Star Killer, I think.
Oh, both had Star Killer.
Oh, that's right. They both had Star Killer.
Yeah,
because they were pushing the Unleashed game at that point.
It was fun, man. Like I mean, obviously those games aren't as big as like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, but they held their own for a while, man.
Yeah, and you had all those great stages too. Like it was one of those first games where it's like they had, it's like, okay, you're going to fight Voldo, but now you're in quicksand, and if you're not doing a move, you're going to start to sink and you're going to get slower. Like they had those different like things. They were reusing the levels in really like ingenious ways that made the game different when you could play through in different ways. Man, I would love figures of all the Soul Calibur characters.
Yeah, and I guess now it might be easier to get them just because of 3D printers and people like kind of custom making them. But yeah, I kind of wish they had it. Like every time I go to Comic-Con, I do see I always see Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat figures, but I never see like any of the other ones.
Yeah, I just picked up the Jada Blanca figure. That one's really
nice.
I mean, I've got all the old Soda Toys versions, but the Jada ones are just really nice, so I'm buying them again.
Man, Samurai Showdown. It's funny because I remember like I was when I went to college, the arcade across the street from my college, there was always a line to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Samurai Showdown was big back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I even like the kind of like the games that were the more the knockoffs, like World Heroes, and just any kind of fighting game. I was like, all right, let me check this out. Let me see what weirdos are in this. But some of those designs are so great, man. I'd love to have figures of them.
And the one thing I really loved about fighting games too is like you could just get in and get out, right? Like it's not like an RPG where you're there playing for hours on end and there's never like a saving off point that's good enough. It's like, nope, fighting games, you get in, you get your match, and you can leave at any point.
Masters of the Terraskazi, the Star Wars fighting game. Man, that game was so jank. That was so jank, but I loved it because it was Star Wars and it was a fighting game.
I remember that, man. You know what's funny? If we're going to talk about obscure fighting games, dude, like and it's funny because very few people I know remember this game. It came out for the PlayStation 2. It was called X-Men Next Dimensions.
Okay, I know the one. Yep.
Yeah, and it was a fighting game, and it was like, and at first it seemed kind of weird and janky, but then once you got used to the controls and knew how to really use it, it was a phenomenal fighting game with a lot of crazy X-Men lore, man. Mm-hmm. And I've been looking for it, kind of hoping like maybe like there's backwards compatibility for it or something, and that game is like impossible to find now.
Yeah, no, I think it all comes down to the licensing. It's like what company had the license at the time, and
yeah.
But I love it when they do these collections where it's like, okay, like Konami released all the Turtle games, the collection, and if you haven't played, speaking of like side-scrolling beat 'em ups, if you haven't played TMNT Shredder's Revenge, highly recommend it.
That's what I keep hearing. I haven't played it yet, but I heard it's really good.
That's one that I'll throw in when I'm just like, I got 15 minutes to kill and I'll just burn through a level. I'll throw that in.
Wow,
A
okay.
little bit of that.
You know what? I mean, I'll probably just download it tonight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let me know.
I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard nothing but good things. So, and,
I don't know if there's crossplay, but I'm on PS5 with that one. So depending.
Yeah,
on
I'm on PS5 too. So I mean.
Oh, cool. Yeah, then give me your tag, and we'll go through it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, lately I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals, but just because again I like games where I can get in, get out because I'm busy. But definitely, I'm going to look into the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that game is great. Marvel Rivals. I haven't played it. I've never been like an Overwatch guy, so I haven't jumped in to play it. I did download it. I do want to check it out. Love the character designs though.
Oh, dude, it's so fun, and it's obviously a little different from Overwatch in a way that it's third person instead of first person battle royale, but which is better because you want to see these characters do their thing and move, and which is funny though because now Overwatch has added a third person mode where you could fight like you do in Marvel Rivals, because Marvel Rivals was kicking their ass, man. Like Overwatch was in trouble for a long time because like Marvel Rivals came and their whole fan base left and went to Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, I see they're bringing in the Street Fighter characters to Overwatch to try to give it a bump.
You know what? They kind of got me with that though. I saw that and I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna have to get this.
They make more sense in the Marvel Rivals because we've already had Marvel versus Street Fighter so many times.
I agree. Oh, I totally agree. You're right. But when I saw that for Overwatch, I was like, okay, I guess I might have to get this. I don't want to, but I think I'm going to have to.
Well, I bought the Fortnite comic book because in issue 3, Batman fights Snake Eyes, so I was like, I gotta get that.
Wait, there's a Fortnite comic book?
Yeah, it was Batman Fortnite. DC put it out, but they were able to use something like they were able to like have it cross over because they had the license for so many of those things. So yeah, you got Batman versus Snake Eyes. It was phenomenal.
You know what's funny, man? I tried my best to get into Fortnite. I can't do it. Like I don't know what it is about that game. I've tried to. I just can't do it. I'm terrible at it. I don't understand the mechanics of it. I have no luck with Fortnite.
Yeah, no, I mean I've watched my friends' kids play it, but I've never had any interest in it myself. For me, like I would ask, like I'm like, well, what's the story behind this character? What's the story behind this character? And kids were like, I don't know. I don't think they have a story. And I was like, oh, because I like the character design. I want to know what their story is.
Yeah, yeah, there is no story. It's just you just play.
This guy has a hamburger for a head. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Since we're talking about games, though, I do want to. This is our last topic. I do wanted to hop into this because I'm sure you saw it, but this is a big deal, man, because people have been waiting for this game for a long time, and that is Grand Theft Auto 6. We finally got I guess, somewhat of a official trailer. I think it is. Let's take a look at it.
What you doing up there?
I'm just fixing some leaks.
Seriously, dude, you got some time on your hands. I got some properties with paying tenants.
Well, that's why you came by?
Just go get me my checks.
See you, Brian. Love you, Jason.
Damn it, I forgot. I might get struck because I forgot like the music in this. They always have like great music in Grand Theft Auto games.
I think it might have been just enough to come under the wire, but it looks great. Like I'm looking at it on the small screen, of course, but here it looks like a film.
No, it really does. Like, I mean, look, I know it's taking a long time for this game to get released, but if they're taking their sweet time with it to make sure that it's like perfect, I don't hate that. Like, I don't hate that at all, man. I wish more games would do this, where it feels like a complete game. And look, GTA, whether you love it or hate it, has always at least felt like a complete game.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm not the biggest Grand Theft Auto guy. I played 3 Vice City, San Andreas, and 5. So those are the 4 games that I played, and I never finished them. They're fine, they're fun, but the one thing you always gotta give them credit for, man, is like their graphics were always on point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were always cutting edge.
I'm here for Lucia Caminos. She's supposed to be getting out.
What's your name?
Jason Duval.
I seen you here before.
You might have. Hey.
No, talk over the music. Talk over the music. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
I keep forgetting. So actually, the weird thing I've been hearing about this game, right, and it's unfortunately it goes back to the culture war stuff, man, is they're saying that hold on, let me turn this down a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah, they're saying that that it's woke because of
The new beginning.
the girl, and I guess there's a part of town where there's some rainbow flags. I don't know, man. For me, it seems like it'd be kind of hard to make a woke Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess we'll see. But I did see somebody say, like, that there's going to be pride parades in this game, and then somebody else say, so you're saying that there's going to be a large group of people gathered together in a parade in a Grand Theft Auto game, and I was like, oh.
Okay, I know where this is going, and that. Oh, dude,
it's going into vehicular manslaughter.
Okay, here's the thing: if they actually do that, they brought it on themselves. Right, like, because people want to post videos.
Mm-hmm. But if they do that, look, you want to talk about realism. You want to say, like, well, it's in the game because that's the way that society is now. Okay, well, society also has people running into crowds and parades. Not necessarily pride parades so far, but ramming their vehicles into different parades and things like that. So hey, you want to be real world? Be real world.
Yeah, Dude, I think this is a bad idea. Like now that I keep thinking about it, I'm like, they shouldn't do this. Like if that's the case, because like the videos are going to come.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
the sheer amount of sexiness in this tells me that it's not very woke. I mean, there's a lot of heterosexuality going on here,
and that's what I think, man. I think people have gotten way too sensitive when it comes to this stuff. Like, and I understand we have a reason to be, a little skeptical. We've all been hurt. We've all been hurt by the DEI monster and wokeness or whatever. I get it. But at the same time, we can't look at everything through the lens of woke. You know what I mean?
Just because it has a playable female character does not make it woke. We used to play female characters all the time.
Metroid. Metroid was
Metroid, Tomb Raider, Perfect Dark. I played all kinds of games where it was a female lead. And, a female lead, that doesn't bother me. I don't think that that's necessarily woke. What's woke is when you're getting a bunch of messaging along with it.
Yes.
When you're getting a bunch of political messaging and like Spider-Man 2, where it's like, oh, one of the missions is you got to help this gay guy with his date, and it's like, okay.
Wait, is that real?
That's real, yeah. Yeah, Miles Morales has a mission where, you have to help this gay guy, impress his date, and that's a whole mission for a Spider-Man character, character to go through. And that's a Sweet Baby Inc. Thing that's jammed in there because they just got to remind you. They got to put that in there. That's where you get into woke territory. But just because the character is a female, or just because there is some characters that are more liberal or things like that, I don't necessarily consider that woke unless they're beating you over the damn head with it.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. Like even if the character is gay, if that's not the focus, if it's a well-rounded character, and that's a part of it that you could avoid if you wanted to in the game.
Yeah, as long as it's not Iceman from current X-Men, where that's all he is gay all the time, and every line of dialogue has to remind you. So it's like, if someone in the book says that the government has top men on this, he'd be like, ooh, who are these top men? Like a stereotypical 90s sitcom gay.
What? So they gave him the Will and Grace treatment.
Yeah, he's basically Jack from Will and Grace.
Yeah,
everything is like, oh
God, man. I hate that they did that to Bobby Drake. I really do. That's and what's weird is that he was straight before that. He was a straight guy who dated women.
who loved women, and we'd read his thoughts because it was comics, and you would get thought balloons, and you knew how much he loved Opal and how much he was willing to do for her, and all of that sort of thing. And it's just it's sad. I don't want to be crude, but in the X-Men comics, there was no greater poonhound than Bobby Drake.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Between him and like Matt Murdock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and even Johnny Storm, like these guys, man, they were on the hunt, dude.
Yeah. And it wasn't that they weren't looking for, serious relationships. They were at various times, but it wouldn't work out, and then they would end up meeting somebody else. That's
although I'm a little more surprised they didn't turn Johnny Storm gay, with the whole flame on thing. You know what I mean? Like that.
I mean, that's one of those things where it's like people would be like, it's when they made in Young Avengers, when they made the character called the Asgardian, they made him gay.
Oh,
not thinking about the fact that people are immediately going to, so they had to change his name to Wiccan.
That
it's like
honestly, I couldn't stop laughing, dude. Like that was like the most. It shows you how unaware they are, right? Is you the only gay guy on the team you call the Asgardian?
Yeah, and then even like Captain America, you took an old member of Captain America's supporting cast from Mark Gruenwald's run, and you turned him gay. And which character did you do it? The guy who's called D-Man.
Oh,
never occurred to you that like maybe that wasn't the best idea.
Maybe it was on purpose though.
Maybe. I mean, somebody might have thought it was funny, but
like it could have been on purpose. Let me hit these 2 super chats real quick. From Dark Plato for $2. Will Chick Surfer beat Pedro's Reed to death? Hopefully.
We can only hope.
And
then Herbie will say, "I'm going to be a dad."
Let's not go there anymore. It's let's look at another super chat real quick. We might talk about that actually though. Cook Poo for $9.99. Rebel Moon franchise is officially dead. Was it ever not dead? I mean, it was it unofficially alive at some point? I mean,
yeah, I mean, when it came out and people talked about it for 2 days and then didn't talk about it again, I was like, oh yeah, this is not
because it was so bad. It was so bad.
So bad. When Kathleen Kennedy says no.
Yeah, right. This is from Captain Keeps for $5. This stream is woke.
That's true.
This stream is always woke, man. I will virtue signal any chance I get. But yeah.
Now, Dante, I've been told that this is the gayest live stream of any live stream ever.
Gayest live
Would
stream.
you care to confirm?
Oh man! But speaking of the gayest, since you brought it up, I kind of feel like we got to talk about The Last of Us for a minute because at least that episode and that scene. Okay, have you been watching the show?
No, I watched a little bit of the first season and then I got out.
Okay, and guys, by the way, this was completely unplanned. We weren't planning to talk about this, but he brought it up and it just clicked to me that how ridiculous it is. So you know about the game though, right? Where I guess Ellie is gay in the game, and
yeah, that was the DLC for the first game after everybody was hooked.
Yeah, and so in the show, and again we're talking about Bella Ramsey, which by the way, I do not condone all the memes you guys are making about this poor girl. It's bad taste, it's distasteful, it's wrong. You can't keep making these memes, and saying she has fetal alcohol syndrome and all this other shit. I'm kidding, guys. Do whatever you want. Right?
I was going to say, I, on the other hand, condone every bit of it. Make fun
Keep
of
them coming.
No.
Dude, these memers are brutal. But anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
But in the show, her girlfriend tells her she's pregnant because of the guy she was dating before. And yeah, she makes this weird line about how she's going to be a dad. And it could have been a joke. But considering how woke the show is already, I mean, the episode started out with them walking into this town full of rainbows, right? But see, because of the apocalypse, they didn't know what pride was, right? So they nicknamed this town Proud Rainbow Town. It could have been San Francisco for all we knew, but I mean, no, I think it's Seattle. But yeah, and so it already started out with that. And then, a few episodes before that, the girl, was already telling Ellie she's not gay. She's not gay. Then all of a sudden, this episode, the girl goes full gay. And they have sex. So we got to watch Ellie have finger a girl. By the way, finger a girl after running from zombies, the mushroom zombies. So her fingers were all dirty and shit.
In a place where you haven't even checked out. Like I saw this part of the episode. You haven't even like swept through it to see if there's anything in there that can threaten you.
Nope.
It is just to get you to this point, because what the writers are really interested in is forcing this lesbian sex scene on you. And I feel so bad for Isabel Merced. She has to pretend to be attracted to Bella Ramsey. I
Which
love
is crazy
Isabel
because
Merced.
that girl is so attractive. She is ridiculously attractive, man. Even in the show about the apocalypse where everyone's supposed to look a little run down, she's still hot, which is crazy to me.
She's hot girl. She's hot girl in Superman, and she was in Madam Web, which we went to see.
Yeah, she is a cutie, and look, whatever. I mean, it's a show. Look, when you act, you got to pretend, right? Not everybody you make out with or have sex with, you're going to be into. That's why it's called acting. But she probably had to do a lot of acting for that, to pretend that she was really into it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like one of those things that, like, whenever I see, like, now, like, it used to be like whatever, there was a sex scene, and I wouldn't think too much about it. It's like, this is just what happens in movies. And now, because of what we know about Hollywood, I can't help but every time I see it go, well, I know that this is some producer that was like, we really need to have this in here. And then he's sitting there watching the dailies, pleasuring himself and deciding,
absolutely. Absolutely. But now they have, the intimacy coordinators on set. So, you can't take it too far, even though people still do. But yeah, now it's got even weirder, man. Like, I don't even know. Look, I've been on set. I've been on set for love scenes. Like, I've been part of production when we've had to like shoot a scene, and there's nothing sexy about it. Like, there is nothing sexy about it. You're there with like, 6 other guys. One guy's holding a boom mic above the people making love in the bed. 3 guys on camera. Another guy standing in the corner checking his text. I mean, there's nothing sexy about it. But having an intimacy coordinator, it takes away a lot. Let's just say that
it's just another useless job for somebody to have in this era of bloat.
Well, because it's already uncomfortable to begin with being on set when this is happening. But then you have this intimacy coordinator on set, and they're making it worse.
They're
actually making it worse.
Jim, you're not thrusting hard enough. It's not believable. You're gonna want to. Okay, now run your hands up. Like, can you imagine?
Look, I get it. Back in the day, things got a little wild. During
dicey.
sex scenes, and we've all heard crazy stories of people actually having real sex on camera and doing all that stuff. But for the most part, these are grown-ass people, right? These are grown-ass adults. They could talk to each other and tell each other, hey, don't touch me here, but you can touch me here. Don't touch me here. Like, you could conversate, right? You don't need like this third party telling you how to make out with somebody.
Yeah. It's look, if you're in Hollywood, you probably know what to do.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you've been doing this for even like a small amount of time, you kind of get it. But you know what, though? That's also why we don't see a lot of sex scenes anymore in films, because it's not worth the headache.
Well, yeah. And 2, I mean, is it entirely necessary? Like, when 2 characters start making out and then they fall back onto the bed, if they cut to like the next morning and they're laying there under the blankets, I don't go, oh, wait a minute, what happened?
Right.
There was just a cut here. I don't understand what happened between that moment and this moment. I'm an adult. I understand what happened.
Or now, even like just with nudity, right? You're not getting a lot of female nudity anymore. Now, unfortunately, we're getting like full frontal male nudity in like everything, man. Like, I remember I was watching we got it in The Last of Us last week, actually. And it's always like they always find guys with the tiniest dicks. to do these full frontals, right? Like, and I don't know what it is. It's a way of emasculating the man, right? Because I haven't seen one.
Don't, Jamie, maybe you're being honest. Maybe they're just growers and not showers. Maybe the set's really cold. Come on, give some leeway.
If you watch the last episode of The Last of Us, that guy, that was a micro penis, dude. Like that. That's the definition of what that was. And bravo to that guy for showing no shame and putting it out there. But I've noticed that when they do these scenes with these full frontal guys, they're always like these really tiny dudes. And I don't know if that's done on purpose, right? To emasculate them. I don't know. Yeah, you never see like a guy with just a regular dick. It's like some guy with like this little. And not that I care as far as like for my own thing, but my thing is like, I feel bad for the actor. Like, are they doing this on purpose to humiliate this guy? Like that's what's going through my mind. Like, is this like a humiliation ritual or what's going on?
Well, sometimes they go the opposite direction. Like I remember watching Boardwalk Empire, and Bobby Cannavale jumps up and is like killing people in the whorehouse, and he's swinging this hammer as he's walking. And for years, I didn't know it was a prosthetic, and so like when I couldn't remember his name, I would just call Bobby Cannavale Johnny Horsecock. Like I'd be like, oh, that actor, Johnny Horsecock.
Wow.
But then I was like, then I found out that it was a prosthetic, and I was like, that makes sense because he's married to Rose Byrne, and I haven't heard any news reports of her being, found split in two. So
that's wow, that's insane. I mean, and I know they did that with Boogie Nights too. Like I remember Mark Wahlberg was talking about the prosthetic he had to wear. So even that's kind of weird though. Like, is it an actor's choice to wear it, or is it a directional thing? Like did the scene call for like this giant horse cock? Like I don't know.
I don't know. Like I don't know why they decided it in Boardwalk Empire. It was just like he was in a whorehouse, and then they came to kill him, and he was killing everybody else in the nude. And I guess maybe they were just like, wouldn't it be? He's like, it's kind of cold in here. You gonna give me some help? They came in and they were like, yeah, here's this log that you can wear.
Bravo to these actors who are like, look, man, it takes balls. No pun intended, but it takes a lot of balls to like put it out there for the world, so and props to that guy from The Last of Us, because dude, I hope you're gay. Like
like the gay community's not going to judge him on that.
Well, I mean, not if he's a bottom, right? I mean,
that's fair. Yeah, but
at least he has something to hope for.
Have you heard the Willem Dafoe story? Just speaking of full frontal, this is a great place to wrap the show on. Apparently, there was a scene in a movie that called for Willem Dafoe to come on set and to be fully nude. And apparently, Willem Dafoe is very gifted. So gifted that they said that they had to use a body double because people on set were confused. They were confused at how large Willem Dafoe was. Not shocked, not impressed, confused.
Wow.
They were like, nobody is going to believe this. We need to get somebody in here who is much less well endowed.
Dude, how was he not like the biggest like pussy hound in the world, dude? Like back in his younger days, I mean, because
maybe it's embarrassing for him. Maybe it's just it's too buku.
How would that even be embarrassing, dude? Like you're a well-known actor as well as being a cocksmith. I mean, it's like, dude, I mean,
maybe he can't use all of it. The brain can only lose so much blood at any given moment.
Wow. I mean, good on him. Good on him, though. I mean, I'm sure it gets awkward sometimes, right? Like he probably can't wear sweats all that much, and
yeah, you don't want to get a picture of him like going out to get his mail in like just sweats, on a windy day.
It has to be awkward, like hugging certain family members, probably, but
you don't want him to play Santa.
Oh my God, no. Woo!
I remember Howard Stern questioning James Woods about that too, because apparently James Woods has a reputation. And
interesting.
He was like, and so like they like Howard Stern's trying to goad him, and James Woods was just kind of like really like kind of like deflecting. And he's like, "Oh, I hear it's really big." And James Woods goes, "Yeah, that's like the rumor." And he's like, "Oh, how do how do your girls, like the girls that you're with, how do they feel about it?" And James Woods goes, "They like it." Like just like real, just like
I mean, good on them.
mm-hmm.
And by the way, two guys who I wouldn't associate with that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it's always the people you least expect, right?
It is. It's the quiet ones, right?
It's the guy when you look at an actor who maybe he's not so attractive, but he seems like he doesn't have anything to prove. That's the guy.
See, you kind of expect it from like a Chris Hemsworth, right, or somebody like that. But James Woods, okay.
Yeah, you expect Chris Hemsworth to be dropping his pants and telling you that, if you be worthy, you can wield the power of Thor. You can lift the hammer. That would track.
Dude, if that were true, like I would have that tattooed somewhere, man. Like
just right above it. Oh God, man, did I derail us and take us down a path or what?
We went down a dark path, but it happens on this show on VRL. You can guarantee we're going to go off the rails at some point.
Any show that I'm on is gonna.
That's why people watch this show, because they know at some point there is going to be some fuckery that will be talked about for days.
I'm so glad I don't care about getting canceled.
Look, man, I'm kind of twofold, because not only do I just say whatever's on my mind, but on top of that, I'm at that place in my life, I'm at that age where I have no fucks. Like, what are you going to take from me?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I just have no fucks to give. So I haven't reached total zero fucks, but I'm very close. I don't think you reach total zero fucks till you're about 60.
Yeah.
Then you have zero.
Or you're just absurdly rich. You have FU money, and then you don't care about
it. Or you're J.K. Rowling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's just like, I'm gonna say whatever. Like anytime anybody like gives her any shit, like I've seen her actually just like post like a bank statement.
That's all you have to do. She is, again, there's a reason why it's called fuck you money. Like that's what it's for.
It's like she's gonna keep making money off of that franchise till the end of time. She's already absurdly rich. I remember the kid from Munez from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie Munez. Yeah. And somebody online was saying something like, he had said something that wasn't confrontational or anything, but then somebody came on and has to be a dick and tries to troll him and says like, "Oh, I just watched Agent Cody Banks. You were terrible. You're a terrible actor. And Frankie Munez responded, "Yeah, but it's not terrible being retired at 30."
Oh. Hey, touche, man. That is a touche. Like, I mean, he's right. He's right. Look, give me a bunch of shitty parts in a big bank account, and I'll take every role.
Yeah, I'll do the Matthew McConaughey.
Absolutely.
Man, they just keep giving me these movies, and I just keep doing them.
I will be Sam Jackson. I will take everything you throw at me. Because Sam Jackson has yet to meet a part he wouldn't play.
Yeah, no, it's like Nick Cage. It's like, it's like acting. It's like being in movies. There's a whole skit where it's like his agent calling him with all these terrible parts, and he's like, "Okay, you're an astronaut," and he's like, "I love it." And he's like, "But wait," and then you explode, and the only thing that survives is your ass. So you're just a talking ass floating in space. And he's like, "Let's do it." And he's like, "No, Nick, you have to say no to some of these things."
Yeah, no, it's exactly like that. Although when you have the kind of debt that Nick Cage has,
that's true.
Then you have to take every role.
He thought that Con Air money was going to last forever, didn't he?
It's not just that; it's what he bought with that Con Air money, man. People don't realize the crazy shit Nick Cage has invested his money in. He invested a good portion of his fortune into dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if people forgot about that. I mean,
I'd maybe, like, if I had Nick Cage money, from back in the day, I'd maybe buy a T-Rex skull. Maybe. But, like, that's where it would stop.
But what would, like, okay, like, if I had, like, a bat cave, sure. I would put all kind of weird shit in there. But what would I do with a dinosaur skull. Like
you hang it over your desk for meetings. It's a power move.
It's a power move.
Yeah.
You go into every negotiation with like the dinosaur head above you.
Yeah, you know, because the implication is I killed this.
Yeah. Or you put it above your bed.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, it's like in California, I'd have to worry about earthquakes. Although if I had Nick Cage money, I'd be the hell out of California.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. Well, Nick Cage does a good portion of where his estate is New Orleans. So he does stay in New Orleans quite a bit. I don't think he has a place in California, but I think he's more over there.
Yeah.
See, and even just to be that rich to where you just have multiple homes, different places.
I'll tell you, I would never spend a summer in California.
Oh, absolutely not.
As soon as it gets hot, I'd be like, nope. See you guys.
I'm done. Oh, we got another super chat. And this is from Dark Plato for 2. Welcome to the Verbal Riot. Welcome to the Verbal Riot, where nothing is off topic. You know, it couldn't be more true than today.
That's
right?
Fair.
We are talking about some wild shit. But again, that's why you guys tune in, man. Because no one else will talk about well-endowed actors and
that's what you do with your money, Dante, is you buy Willem Dafoe's penis and you put that above your desk.
Put that above the bed, right? Like
right. Just so everybody who comes into your bedroom ends up being disappointed.
Exactly. Woo! Anyway, guys, this was fun. This was hella fun. And considering how the week is going for me, and even this day, this was a much needed show for me. I had a great time. Aaron, I hope you had a good time too.
I did, man.
I mean, we always talk about wild shit, but today was a little bit more wild than normal. But tell the people what you got going on.
Oh, just so if you weren't here at the beginning, go to Kickstarter, check out Kneel Before Doomface. We are wrapped on colors and on inks. All that's left to do is the letters, which are in process right now, and then we'll go into post-production, and then we'll be getting everybody out their books. So, if you want a Venture Brothers style, kind of over-the-top, comedy/series, but that has, comedy/drama series, has some serious stakes, but also has a heavy dose of satire, please go check out Kneel Before Doomface. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, Arron_Sparrow, or on Instagram, just as Arron Sparrow.
And guys, you know where you can find me every Thursday, 6 p.m. VRL. Be on the lookout for videos that I drop throughout the week. I just did one for Ironheart. I'll have another one coming for Andor probably Saturday. And you can always catch me with the Yellow Flash on Saturday nights and with George the Giant Slayer on Sunday mornings. And, of course, Film Threat on Mondays. God damn, I feel like I work a lot.
It's not easy. Like people don't realize, it's like they're like, oh, YouTubers, once you get a real job. And it's like, dude, when you are doing videos all the time, it's like you're working on them all the time. You have to keep your energy up for being on streams and things like that.
Oh, dude,
it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's better than like roofing in the summer or, or some of the a lot of that.
Absolutely.
But it does take it out of you.
Yeah, look, I'm not laying brick here, okay? Like there's worse things I could be doing. But but it's still work. And a lot of times people think it's easier than it really is. And once you guys start doing it, I encourage all you guys to do it, man. Start your own channels, man. You'll see for yourself. It's still work, but it's fun work. So, and again, you guys make it you make it worth it every Thursday for me. You guys always show up for me. I appreciate you. So you guys make this worth it. Anyway, guys, follow Aaron, follow me, and thanks for tuning in. Talk to you soon.